Hi, everybody. This is for those who missed the meeting last night to go to Ireland. We had a great turnout, and it's really going to be the Reader's Digest version of these slides because it took me about 35 to 45 minutes last night to deliver this information. So feel free to pause and read the slides fully, but I'm just going to give you like the quick nitty gritty on this trip. Okay, so yeah, we're going to Ireland in 2025. I'm very excited. We actually had a lot of signups, like record-breaking signups last night. We still have about 7 open spots, so if you're interested, I'd say sign up quickly. So this is what we covered last night. My name is Amy Ecker. I've been teaching at Lemoore High School since 1998. Was in the English department and the English department chair for a really long time, and then took over the drama department in 2019. So I've been doing that full time for the last 4 years. I've been doing these tours though since 2014, and let me share a little bit of my story of how I got into this. So in 2013, my colleague was planning a trip for the students on with the same company, EF Tours, to London and Paris, and she asked me if I'd like to go as a chaperone. I'd always wanted to travel out of the country, but just never got around to it, and so I said yes, of course. Well, what happened is as soon as she promoted this trip and started getting ready for it, she got pregnant. And she was going to be due a month before we were going to be going on the trip. And so she was up in the air of like, can I even do this trip or not? So we worked it out, and I ended up taking over as the group leader for this trip. And so they sent me on a training trip. And as you can see there, that's the Trevi Fountain in Rome. I got to go on an extended weekend trip to Rome and learn all the things about the company and how to lead the trip. So I did that in January in 2014. And they say, if you know about this, that if you toss a coin over your shoulder into the Trevi Fountain, that you'll return to Italy. So that's what I did. And I said, the next time I want to bring my own kids, my family. So after we had a wonderful trip to London and Paris, the first trip that I started from scratch was to Italy. We did the grand tour of Italy, which was 10 days, and it was just amazing. And so you can see here, I brought my family with me, and this is a couple years later in 2016. Since that time, have taken groups of people on various trips like Spain and Germany, Switzerland. This right here is Greece. This is the first trip that we got to go since COVID. So we just went on that last summer, and we were supposed to go in 2020. So it got pushed back 2 years. But we lost a lot of people, but we did end up having a fabulous time. Um, so we went over some of these details here. Let me move myself down a little bit here and talked about why it's important for students to travel and why we want to offer this opportunity. So, one, just like myself, sometimes we don't even realize that the opportunity is there, or we just never get around to actually planning it until someone invites us. So, I'm officially inviting you to come on this trip with me to Ireland. It's going to be life changing. And the kids that I take with me, they're much different kids on the way back. Just the confidence in what they've learned in that short, a little bit over a week is, like I said, life changing. So I work with a company called EF Tours. EF stands for Education First. They are educational tours. They are geared towards high school students. So they're kind of fast paced because that's how kids like to do it. Can adults go on this trip? Yes, they can technically. But I just want to let you know it is designed for students. So it is faster paced than maybe most adults like to go. But I completely understand if you're going. I'm not going to let my child go across the world without me coming. Then there are opportunities for parents or aunts and uncles or grandparents to go to. But like I said, we just have a few spots left. EF Tours has been around for 55 years. Like I said, I've been doing these tours since 2014. However, before me was somebody else. Before that person was someone else at Lemoore High School for the last, 30 years at least. Somebody has been doing these tours. They're not school tours, but our school allows us to promote to our high school students. They have staff and offices all over the world. Our closest one will be in London, England. So if something happens, they're just right there next to us, being able to help with anything. So this is our map, I guess, or a guide. We're going to be flying in and out of Dublin and be staying there for 3 nights, but we're also going to be traveling to these wonderful cities. Here's a little bit of the itinerary. Like I said, you can pause this and look at it more. I'm going to go through these quickly. I'm all about the food, y'all. So hearty soups, hearty breads and stews and stuff. Yum. Okay, so our travel dates. I have requested June 11th through 19th. Here's why. With these tours, they have the opportunity to move them up as much as 4 days up from when I request, or move them back 4 days. So this is kind of the big window. And what I do is I just look at when graduation is. And graduation for 2025 it's always the first Thursday of June. So it's somewhere around June 5th or something, and then give a little bit of a buffer. And then I add 4 days to that so that in case it does get bumped up as early as that, it's not going to interfere with school or graduation and things like that. But anyway, we're going for 9 days. Probably the chances are I will get to set the dates exactly, because it looks like we're going to have a good group. And if I can get over 30 travelers to go on this group, then we get to set our dates. But if not, if it's smaller than that, which it won't be, I don't think. But in the past, if it's smaller than that, we have like 15 people or 20 people, then sometimes they add us with another school. And I used to think that was maybe not a good idea. But honestly, the last couple of times that has happened, I've really loved it. And so have the students, because not only have they gotten this experience to go across the world and learn about different countries and cultures, but they've gotten to meet friends their own age that are from a different state, like Minnesota or something, and then they just bond with them as they go through this experience. So anyway, this is the window of time that we'll be going, and we will get some kind of confirmation 2 to 3 months out when they buy those airfare tickets. This is what is included in the cost of the trip. It takes care of our airfare. It takes care of the hotels that we stay in. It takes care of breakfast and dinners. Okay. Our tour director, sometimes it's male, sometimes it's female, but they're like our mom or dad on the trip, and they stay with us in the same hotels. They ride on the same buses, and they just help us experience. There's somebody that is local and lives in the area and speaks the language. This one here is our tour bus, and we have local guides for some of the places or museums that we might need to enter that can give us, their license to give us all the information and education about that experience. Some guided sightseeing and any entrances to these, like I said, landmarks, national parks, or castles and things that we might be going to. What you're responsible for is to make sure that you get a passport. And I would say do that earlier rather than later now, because it used to be about 6 to 8 weeks that they would take to process and get back to you. And now it's much longer. It could be several months. So do get that passport, and that's what you would be responsible for. Some snacks and some meals. So I already said that it includes all the breakfasts and all the dinners. So we are responsible for our own lunches. And that is part of the time that we're experiencing the culture too. So we had a chance to go somewhere and try their food during lunch. Snacks, if you want a cappuccino every morning, that might be something that's extra. I do collect, this is the only money I handle. I do collect up front tips for our local guides, our bus driver, and our tour director. That usually comes out to an average of $10 a day. So it's a 9-day trip. So we're talking about $90, maybe $100. I'll find out closer. And I do collect that in advance because if I waited till the end of the trip, the kids would spend all their money. So it's helpful to get that in advance. And then we have we can tip the bus driver and the tour director, who are always excellent and top notch. Baggage fees is something that may or may not happen. On all my trips so far, whenever we've gone to an international destination, we are allowed to check one bag, one regular size suitcase, as well as bringing a carry-on with us and a personal item. But I know that airlines are changing, and after COVID, with loss of employees and just gas prices going up, that things are changing and fluctuating. So it will depend on the airline that we get booked on. There might be, if you want to check a bag, there might be a fee for that or not. We won't know till closer to that time, but just want to let you know that is one of the things. So it's everything is included, like I said, except for your passport, maybe a luggage fee, some tips, about $90 I'll collect ahead of time, and whatever you need for snacks and souvenirs and your lunches. Why I partner with EF. It's a little bit of information. I really do believe that safety is their utmost concern, besides planning amazing trips and doing all that stuff. Let's face it, they have to make sure that our kids are safe. They need to not just make sure our kids are safe, but they need to make parents feel like they are safe. And there's a difference too. You have to go over and above, because who's going to let their kid go on this trip without them unless they know that they're going to be taken care of? So I have seen this actually work out in the time that I've been working with EF Tours. And so, for example, maybe about 10 years ago or so, there was a bombing at an Ariana Grande concert in Manchester. Well, not that any of the EF people were there, but because of that incident, EF took, you know, boots to the ground, made sure that they took care of anyone who was in that vicinity of England or traveling through London or near there, to make sure that they were safe. They would reroute things just so that they could be out of the way of local police and things like that. And they're all constantly looking at what's happening in the country culturally. Is there civil unrest or anything? And anytime they feel like there just might be something that is out of the ordinary, they're going to do whatever they can while it's happening to make us safe on the tour, go a different direction, reroute us, change the days of the itinerary and flip flop them, whatever they can, they will do, because they're right there. And so this is their reputation. They're going to go bankrupt if people don't want to take their tours because they feel like it's unsafe. So I truly, truly believe in EF. There's I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, like I said, their safety is first, and I do believe that. They're educational partners that we learn, besides the trips being just cool to go out of the country and learn about different cultures and be immersed in that. I mean, there's a big educational component to that too. So that this is some of the things that are available with the trip. And like I said, the biggest thing is these kids come home changed. They go they go off to college after this, if they've just graduated, and they are confident and they're okay with going because they've already been across the world. What's going out of state to college going to be like? So a lot of those fears are quelched because of a trip like this. People who come back to high school, the things that they get to write about, the things that they get to share with their friends, they're just so confident. They get to use a lot of this stuff on their college entrance exams or essays that they might have to write, as opposed to just, maybe something boring if they've never been out of Lemoore or California. And finally, we have a big support team. I've got my tour consultant that's helping me with planning the trip. Once we get there, we have a tour director, like I said, that's with us 24/7. A lot of people behind the scenes that are booking hotels, booking excursions and things like that. And of course, there's the group leader who is being like the liaison between you guys and EF Tours, and just making sure it all works out and everyone knows the information. Right, here's a little bit of information about insurance if you are interested. And let's see. There is a scholarship opportunity, and I can say that I've had a couple of students on trips in the past where I've seen that they've applied and gotten $1,000 scholarship. There's an application process. You can find that on eftours.com. The other thing that's cool that they've done as of more recent is they have this customizable tour fundraising page, and it's kind of like a GoFundMe, but you just put your information on, and then you could send that link or email it to friends, family, grandmas, aunts, and uncles, and say things like, hey, my birthday's coming up, or you're asking what I want for Christmas. If you could donate to my trip to Ireland, I would appreciate that. And so, whatever it is that they pay goes straight to their account and it just subtracts. You know, if grandma decides to donate $50 or $100 or even $500 to this trip, it would just come off your price. So, that's something that's been very helpful. Everything that we get on this trip, like I said, feel free to pause and read it in more depth. And then what you're waiting for are the payment options. So this trip is $37.59 for 9 days, and it includes all those wonderful things I talked to you about. For adults, it's a little bit more because adults room 2 to a hotel room as opposed to 4, plus some of the things that we go into, museums or whatever. There's either a little bit higher cost for adults or sometimes just a cost, and students are able to go free. So there's a little bit more money for adults. What is an adult? Adult is someone who is 20 years or older at the time that we go on the trip. Right now, we are having a promotion until May 19th, a $200 off. So this is currently the price up until May 19th. And this is the current price for adults. What does that work out to? Well, you pay a $95 enrollment fee to make sure that you save your spot. And then if you sign up for monthly payments, it's $145. That's all they do is take this price, subtract $95 from it, divide it by 24 months, which is starting in I think in June, to go for 24 months. And this is about what the payment is. Okay, you start your payments in as early as May this month. You pay the $95 and you say, I want to be charged on May 15th. You get to pick when you want it deducted, and it might be actually a little bit less. If you go with the global travel protection for $190, you're talking about adding less than $10 a month to your payment. So, you know, going up maybe $8 or $9, that might be something you want to consider, or to just think that, hey, you're saving that, so let's put that towards insurance. But if you don't want to decide that at this moment, you can always add that global travel protection for $190 at a later date. I think we have to do it like 45 days in advance, but you do have a lot of time to decide on that. But anyway, just enroll because these spots are going to fill up quickly. And let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, thank you guys so much.